of his uniform as the heat started to build. Liam's eyes nearly crossed as he, for the fourth time, studied the tritransitive structure of Rownt verbs. Verbs conjugated according to who performed an action, on whom the action was performed, the object involved, and the attitude intended by the doer. But no matter how much Liam cared about the proper conjugation of verbs, his attention span had a limit. For a time he tried pacing the trading plaza and watching the few Rownt who wandered this far from the center of town. However, every time Liam passed near the other trader, the Rownt watched. Liam had the feeling he was breaking some social taboo no one had explained. Craig had given him very little information on correct behavior, just issuing vague promises that the Rownt seemed fairly hard to offend. Rather than risk finding a way to offend his hosts, Liam headed back to his table, picked up his computer, and started one of the, technically against the regs, games Craig had loaded. For a while he amused himself with the simple matching game that required him to figure out codes on a security system before cops showed up to arrest his game character. Liam wondered what Rownt would think of the game, but he had no way to know. Liam looked up when a new Rownt stepped into the plaza. He was smaller than most of the aliens, but he was still taller than the average human being. This new trader walked to the other side, where the potter had set up. He walked past the potter's table, stopping several times to study pieces. Each time he silently returned the piece to its place, not shifting any toward the circle marked on the table that indicated goods to be traded. After the new Rownt examined, or at least touched, every single pot, he headed for Liam's table. The first time a Rownt had walked toward him, Liam had felt a cold and panicky sort of fear. They were huge. If a Rownt decided to lose his temper, he could break Liam into tiny, bloody pieces. However, in the time Liam had been coming to the trading plaza, he had never seen a Rownt show the least bit of emotion. So the fear had faded into a softer sort of wariness. He kept track of the Rownt near him, but he had stopped expecting an attack. He also didn't expect a trade. 3 other Rownt had come and looked at Liam's wares before buying pots. Liam had asked Lieutenant Spooner to request text goods, but Liam still had copper boxes on his table. This new trader picked up the small text page Liam had set out. Formal trading precluded speaking, so Liam had typed a short explanation of the types of metal and the processes used to create the decoration. Every trader who came to the plaza gravitated to the text. They studied it so intently that Liam got the feeling they regretted leaving it behind. One trader had even put the page into the trading circle, but Liam had been so shocked he had failed to react, and the trader had left. The informational text definitely got more interest than the actual bowls. This new trader headed for the corner of Liam's table, where a particularly large copper box stood, and his trajectory brought him uncomfortably close. Liam tried to stand his ground, but at the last second he flinched back. His hip hit the table, and he blurted out a sharp, "Fuck," as copper tumbled to the tile floor. Immediately he froze. Speaking in the trading plazas was forbidden, a cultural taboo. Liam held his breath, expecting one of the Rownt to grab him and rush him out of the space at any second. He would be disgraced. Command would send him back to the front to die. 1,000 fears and thoughts clanged around in Liam's head until he couldn't think straight. It took him several minutes to realize the 2 Rownt only watched him with large eyes. Taking their lack of reaction as a sort of forgiveness, Liam dropped to his knees and began to gather up the copper. He froze again as the new Rownt crouched down beside him and picked up a fallen box. He turned the piece over in his hand, examining the decorated top before he set it on the table. Liam could only stare at the enormous hands. Rownt didn't help each other, or that was what Command said anyway. Rownt were 100% mercenary, which is why they had not technologically developed as fast as humans. They had solar panels and a power grid, and clearly they could refine metals since that was Liam's main job, obtaining ship-grade metals. However, they were still largely aggressive.